Victorian graziers Anne and Gus Gardner recently got some great news. The Italian fashion house Zegna declared them one of Australia's top 2 fine wool producers. But the recognition comes right as the Gardners are pondering the future of their business. They fear they might need to shut down their award-winning sheep property because of a forest of wind turbines rising on their boundary. Here's Greg Hoy.
A wicked wind can howl across the rich volcanic plains of Victoria's western districts.
This is seriously windy country.
But for fine wool merino sheep, this is like the promised land. And near the hamlet of Macarthur, Annie and Gus Gardner grow some of the very finest fleece in all Australia from their ultra-fine wool merinos.
We have the challenge of producing hopefully the best in the world.
If we do succeed, you are handsomely paid.
Indeed, their ultrafine wool is in great demand amongst the world's premium fashion houses, such as the iconic Italian brand Zegna. Paolo Zegna himself was in Sydney recently to award the Gardners the second prize trophy for ultrafine wool production in Australia and New Zealand.
Probably one of the most prestigious awards in the world for wool. It is the.
They are important because, you know, they supply the proper ingredients for us to make beautiful products.
But back down on the farm, the Gardners are locked in a fierce feud with their neighbours and a good many others around Macarthur as they fight to fend off an invasion of giant wind turbines.
We've been told we're mad, we're crackpots. It even divides families. Some believe it. We've had instances in the family. It's mainly through ignorance.
Meet the neighbours, the Robertsons, Tom and Tom Sr., whose idea at first was to farm the wealth of wind that frequents these parts.
It's using a natural asset to produce something that we humans want. If we're going to use electricity, we have to get it from somewhere. And this is a source that's pretty benign.
So, with the billion-dollar backing of a consortium led by energy giant AGL, the 140-giant turbine Macarthur Wind Farm will soon tower over 10,000 acres adjoining the Gardners' property, 7,000 of those belonging to the Robertsons.
The Macarthur Wind Farm, when it's completed, will be 420 megawatts. That will be the largest wind farm in the Southern Hemisphere.
To within 40 metres of the boundary, 146 metre top of the blades, twice as high as the MCG light towers.
But the sheep are nervous, seriously nervous, or so say the Gardners, who insist their stock and hard-earned livelihoods are imperilled.
The ultrafine sheep are highly strung. They are highly vulnerable if they are stressed.
I have my hard-earned capital threatened by this monster.
It's very disturbing.
A monster, says Annie and Gus Gardner, that other farmers claim has made them sick.
Started with the headaches and the tingling in the head, and then eventually the sleepless waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
But the Robertsons and AGL remain highly sceptical.
There certainly has been no scientifically peer-reviewed evidence that claims or points to any negative health effects from wind turbines.
You don't believe that it makes people sick or that it makes sheep sick?
No, I don't. I really don't. There's noise in everything we do. Sheep are noisy. They bar and carry on. Cattle are noisy.
Indeed, about 100 kilometres further north, a different story is told. Here, the Challacombe Hills wind farm has been operating for 7 years, adjacent to the neighbouring Hartwick family sheep farm.
They're just so majestic and they do look lovely. and they're producing the power that's not going to hurt the environment.
You can see the sheep grazing right underneath them.
Some people worry that it can upset sheep.
Yeah, I don't think that ever happens.
That's just a myth.
You think so?
Yes. Well, why can we grow fine wool and we haven't any problems?
No.
And I don't know whether to say this, but our sheep have won prizes. Last year, they won the Victorian Ewe of the Year.
The Hartwicks are mighty proud of that, though the Gardners seem even prouder of their award.
We grow a very superior fibre, which is wonderful to be recognised as such by the top designer in the world.
But at what price the golden fleece? The finest quality merino wool will pay a premium price of some $2,000 a kilo, whereas a lesser quality clip will earn just $20 a kilo. But controversially, to realise such a big difference, the pick of a merino flock must be confined to a sheep shed for the 12 months or so that it takes for them to produce their coat.
They're a thoroughbred sheep, really, so they are susceptible to stress if their environment is not satisfactory.
The Gardners asked we not film inside the shed where they keep their sheep, for fear of stirring up animal rights protesters.
They're really very placid animals in their natural habitat. You know, if you've ever kept a little dog in a flat, how upset they get because they haven't got the room to run around in. So if you keep them too enclosed, they will get upset.
On that, the Hartwick family seems to agree.
Personally, I like to see sheep running around on native pasture.
They'd rather be out of the shed in the natural environment, grass and stuff.
Wool versus wind farming. Can they live in harmony, or will their collision across the western districts only intensify?
It's actually emerging a bit like a religion, really. This is pretty well Australia's richest grazing country, and it's going to be absolutely littered with literally thousands of enormous wind turbines.
I am now being forced to sacrifice my life's work to enable a multinational corporation feed their frenzy.
They might believe that, but I don't.
Greg Hoy reporting.